My high C48, Leo Coys and KTK. Lucas on the flight, causing turbulence, causing waves on our way to the confluence. New voice for the fans, from the pitch to the stands. My high looks than the South Bank lads. Leo Coys and a homie Krash. Hold up, what's this? A raft on the water to the confluence. Yeah. It's chance, I'm bound to rounds, I love the head to the wars. If it's this, you're off the C38. This time is now. Locals on the jump to hold it down. Like the stream and do 5 stars. The mile high hearts burn, crash the car.
Yes, you filthy animals. Welcome back to the Confluence. My name is Leo Coys. I'm the Mile High Hotspur, and I am joined by my homie, a certified rapid sicko, the driver of the Daddy Shuttle, and the co-host of this here podcast, Krash the Karsh, my homie KTK. It's been a minute. Say what's up to the homies, bro.
Hey guys, and Leo, I hope you've been doing well. I know we've been kind of intermittent, streaming and broadcasting and recording and everything. So it's getting exciting to finally get back into the swing of things. I think, it's been a long little break here, but I don't know about you. I've enjoyed the entirety of it. This World Cup has been fun, exciting. It's had turns. I know you just had to say goodbye to your team for the series today, unfortunately. I thought they had it, and then they decided to park the bus in the second half, and I just didn't quite understand that whole concept. So it was a close one, but you can't count out Argentina. They've been coming back on their way back in the second half of every game. So it's been fun and exciting. I'll say the least. I know my kids have loved every game. I've enjoyed it. I mean, we've been watching in the office, and it's been fun and extremely enjoyable break. So, but I don't know about you. I'm getting a little itchy to get back into our league play, if I have to say so myself.
Homie, look. First of all, I'm just gonna ask you this question, bro. What's your thought on teams parking the bus?
As soon as I saw them doing that, I was like, what are you doing? You're never going to win doing that. You get a 1-0 lead and then you park the bus against a team that's dangerous like Argentina. It was terrible, terrible coaching. That call shouldn't have happened. They should have kept the pressure. I mean, I thought they were doing really well. And I mean, Argentina was having to, really press, and they were having, a good physical game. But the moment that they took the momentum out of their attack and weren't providing any sort of option, just letting Argentina come at them, it was shot after shot. Pickford, I mean, he did an amazing job that second half with some amazing saves. It should have been 4-1 easy, and so they got lucky on those until they weren't, and it was pretty sad. I hate seeing a team park the bus. Keep the pressure, keep up the intensity, make them, put the other team on the back foot, because if they're worried about what you're going to do in the attack, then they have to play two sides of the game. And if they're not, they're just going to keep attacking with no legs. So I was very frustrated from the English side, thinking, why did you do that? You could have kept the pressure on, and it could have been a game. Make them beat you, not sit back and see if they can finish on you, right? I don't know. I just didn't agree with it personally.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of watching a team park the bus. The only time I was happy with it, bro, is a year ago, a little over a year ago, Tottenham were in the Europa League final against Manchester United. We got the 1-goal lead, and it's now come out that Ange Postecoglou said, you know what, we're just going to sit back and we're going to defend this lead. And that's the only time that I could say, I guess I agreed with it, and it worked out to how it had to. But if you guys haven't picked up on the little clues my homie Krash has been throwing out, or if you're not a listener of the pod and this is your first time, I did say before before the World Cup, I was backing the English team, the Three Lions, and the semifinal, bro. That's not bad, you know what I mean? But I just feel like the way they limped out was, I guess uh, they let their fans down, bro. But it is what it is. Look, Crash. What about now that we're kind of talking about the World Cup? Cape Verde, bro. How about that, bro? Round of applause for Cape Verde,
Yeah.
bro. They went pretty deep. I enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed I'm a fan of the Dutch team. I was kind of bummed out they didn't go any further. Crash, what about you? Just any takeaways from the World Cup, bro? I mean, before obviously we get into our Rapids talk or whatever, but just we're football fans in general. So I mean, the World Cup is happens every 4 years. What has just maybe a talking point for you?
Yeah, for me, I think is, one being here and most of these games have, all these games happening in North America, a lot of them, if not the majority of them being in the US, has really been exciting. And, I don't know about you, but I have friends that don't normally talk soccer. I mean, I'm obviously, they know me, they know I coach, they know I do the pod, they know I'm, a rapid sicko and love the game. And so they'll know I'll talk about it. They'll bring it up every once in a while. But now I'm getting friends that didn't know anything about the game coming to me going, "Hey, what's this? What's going on? What did you think about
Yeah.
this? What's offsides? Whatever, in joking, you're going to look at, for new fans." But there's a lot more, my neighbors and friends that are, interested and excited in the game. So and I think that alone was good. I really do wish the MLS would capitalize a little bit more. I know they released their kind of advertisement and the commercial that you're seeing now in the hydration breaks and at halftime and things. But I mean, we had the 50 million viewers of the U.S. Against Belgium, which is the largest U.S. viewed match ever, which is amazing. But again, I think that's the other piece of it. It did what it was supposed to do from like getting attention and getting more eyes on the game and what the World Cup really is and getting some excitement there, especially with the U.S. team. I think there was some massive excitement there. So that was a bit of a letdown into kind of how they went out against Belgium. But I think the biggest takeaway is it did achieve what it was supposed to do. The problem that I have with that, when you take it from the World Cup, which was a massive success in my opinion, to the MLS capitalizing on that attention, I think that they totally missed the boat. And so I think that's the big problem that I have with it is it was a big success, and the biggest success would have been if we would have gotten more people excited for their home league and the best football they can watch, next to their, wherever they live in the US. And I don't know. I think we it was a little too late getting people excited, and we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be able to get to, Dick's and see it, a lot more full than it usually is and get new fans in. But I don't know. I just kind of feeling like maybe it didn't quite hit the mark yet.
Yeah. No, and I think maybe, we'll just have to wait and see on that part. You know what I mean? It may have, we just, I guess you're right. It's definitely way too early to try and gauge that. But I agree, homie. I hope it brings a lot more of those people that kind of have thought about it or, saw a couple of games and said, oh, the environment looks cool. You know what I mean? The game obviously flows. I'm going to check it out. The one thing I have not liked about it is I'm not a fan of four-quarter football, my homie. I am not a fan of four quarters football. That's why I like the real football, which is two halves. But no, bro, I think it's dope. I hope it does. I hope it definitely translates over a bit closer to home. And to kind of bring the pod back to a bit closer to home, I just want to say welcome back to everybody. I mean, I know we've kind of been having these intermittent shows, just as Krash mentioned at the beginning, but it's just Krash. It's been awfully quiet on the Rapids front. Whatever has happened, like there hasn't really been too much news that we are going to be able to dissect. I mean, both of us had things that we were doing. We couldn't make the preseason friendly against Juarez, which I guess would have been a bit easier for us to translate what happened. But, apart from that, haven't really been given any transfer links. We haven't been given any updates. We haven't really been, I guess no news is better than bad news, if you will, in this case. But, it'd be nice to hear of some transfer targets that we're going after. Even, I guess, a bit more clarity in the Lucas Harrington situation. Will he, won't he? Where is he going? Is he going? We're just left in the dark with a lot of what's going on. And I guess for me as a Rapids fan, that's probably the most frustrating part about this whole window is, one, it hasn't given us a lot to talk about, Krash. And two, like I told you the other day, I kind of feel like I've just been a bit disconnected, and I wish that wasn't the case. Like I wish there was just more ITKs, more in the nose, just given more stuff to talk about the Rapids, bro. Krash, how do you feel about that, bro? I mean, do you know anything that I don't know? Do you know somebody who knows anything more than we don't know?
Well, the one thing that I do know is that there are a lot of movements happening in MLS right now. The transfer window is officially open, and moves are happening. If you follow Twitter, you follow Blue Sky, you follow any of the socials, you are seeing teams acquire players. You're seeing players come in. You're seeing players moving to new clubs, and some big names and big things are happening, right? Robert Lewandowski is now with Chicago, right? Antoine Griezmann with Orlando. We knew that was coming. He's officially there. We know, what was it? Just, I think Kyle Wagner's back, from Birmingham City. There are a bunch of new things happening within clubs, and, shifts and changes and exciting things happening. Big moves are happening, and none of those moves are currently with the Rapids. At least only hints and things that we know of. We've talked about a little bit in the past. But we have heard, outside of Loic Williams, there is no official word on any real things happening with the club, which is not the greatest thing if you're a fan of the Rapids, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and just to kind of touch on, it may have been our last podcast or the podcast before that, we kind of set out we kind of looked a bit forward in the future, and we're here now. We talked about maybe who would we bring in, what were the Rapids trying to do, what can possibly happen, and we've gotten to the point now, Krash, where we're what is it? Maybe a week. We're a week away. We're a week away from that game against San Diego here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and you would think maybe, I mean, there's obviously still time for the club to do moves, whether it's in or out, but you would have probably wanted these moves to either materialize a lot sooner than later, Krash. I mean, we're going to be leaving it till, later in the window, hopefully not too late if we do make any moves. But any type of player that's going to be coming into this team is going to be needing some time to get acclimated to the system, to get acclimated probably even to the freaking altitude that we talk about here on the channel, here on the pod a bit. It's like we're selling ourselves really short, bro, and we're definitely waiting for that crunch time to start crunching. And that, bro, that right there is, I guess, it's bothering me, Krash. That part is sucking about being a Rapids fan right now, bro.
Yeah, and that is true. And I think if you look at it, you would have hoped that they would have had these moves locked in and done, so that way they would have gotten people in the moment the window opened. Why can't we ever have that done? Why is it that we're not a club that is that prepared to get these things done. I don't know. I know Matt Wells is he's mentioned how particular he is on the player and how they're going through it and the talks, but for me, it would be okay. Let's have these done. Window opens, sign, done. You're in. You're at least getting started immediately because we need the help. We will not have a full squad of first team players, and we need to be prepared to know that and play with
Yeah.
and we've got 2 games coming up within that week, right? We've got a week away from the San Diego return game at Vix. We go away to St. Louis on the 25th on Saturday, and then we're back, a week later. So it's, these games are going to be coming fast and furious really quick. And then after that, it's the 15th, the 19th, the 22nd. We have 3 games within, a week. And that's going to be a very condensed schedule to come back to with very limited players. We're going to need the depth through those, that's next month. August is going to be a challenging month if we don't have players in the jump in. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, we have 5 fixtures in August.
That's discouraging, bro. That right there is discouraging, Krash. We talked about on podcasts in the past, bro, that fixture congestion. Now, I know that was like after a good chunk of season, we had that congestion, which took up a big chunk of our first half. But we're literally coming off of the summer break right into a thick and fast scheduling, bro. And then we talked about it as well. Our squad is thin, bro, and we're not doing anything to make it any better. Matt Wells, you can say everything that you want, man. You could say, you want to be selective. Damn it, here I go criticizing Matt Wells again. He punch me up when I see him, I swear. Here I am, he wants to be selective of the players that he's bringing in. Fine, that's fair. If and when these players come in, Krash, there should be no time to adjust because we're ultra selective. There should be no hiccups. There should be nothing delays. There should be nothing that's, oh, well, he's learning this. No, you guys want to be selective of the players that you want to bring in, then they better be well selected for this team, for this league, for this roster, for this manager, for this system. The later we leave it, bro, the shorter the leash has to be for these signings. Now, I know that's me just kind of being, just looking for a negative, but bro, am I wrong to think that, Krash? Like, if you guys really want to be that freaking selective, you better select the right freaking player that's going to slot in like a round peg into a round hole.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. And I think I'm just looking at the fixtures coming up. I said there was 5 in August. 5 in August, and then we go 6 in September, including the U.S. Open Cup, and then there are 6 in October.
That's congestion half the rest of the season, bro.
That's it. And then the last game is on November 7th. So I mean, we are straight in. Like it's going to be nonstop football until November, and the question is this team ready with where they are injury wise, with player wise, with incomings wise, with R2 supplements or whatever it is? I'm going into it hoping that this offseason, this mini offseason or whatever you want to call it, has rejuvenated the squad. Wells has been able to integrate his systems, understand it more, all the things. And we'll talk about the transfers and kind of what we know in a bit. But I mean, if things happen the way that we might think that they happen, kind of bleak.
Oh my days, Krash. I know I told you this, but I think even on the last podcast that I haven't even looked ahead at the schedule, bro. I didn't even know how many games we were playing next month. I knew we were starting with San Diego, but now you mentioned 5 games, 6 games, 6 games. I'm thinking to myself, we're set up to fail, bro. Our squad right now, look, and that's just me keeping it real. Right now, as of today, our squad is set up to fail for the rest of the season. And I feel extremely bad for Matt Wells because he's going to be forced to make whatever type of lemonade with whatever fruit they just give him, bro. It may not even be lemons, bro, but they're gonna expect for him to make lemons. And and look, I know tons of the Rapids fan base is eager for a good squad, is eager for a good team, eager for good performances. How many of us don't love going to that stadium, celebrating goals, 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 cheering the team on when we win? The more I think about it and the further down the road that I look at it, it's just like those feelings for me, Crash, I want to say are going to be few and far between, bro.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the thing is it's one, I will say this. Matt Wells is going to do everything in his power to make it successful. And I believe that 100%. I think he has the team that he has in front of him as prepared as they possibly can to fight until the end of November. The question is, has the front office failed him and the fans with not providing a club or a team capable of doing that? And that's where I know many other fans are in the same perspective of KSE has not provided us any hope. The front office has not provided us any hope of the past or even what they've been doing this year that they are going to do that. And seeing what's happening around us, seeing the World Cup, seeing what teams are getting so much stronger out of this break. And I mean, I just saw like San Jose signed 3 players yesterday. Like all as soon as they possibly could, you saw three incoming players immediately, right? You're seeing this over and over again. Like multiple players coming in. Orlando's got it, just adding, because they know they need to increase. They need to increase quality. And Matt Wells has even spoke about it. He's talked about we need to increase quality of this team. But our outgoings better than our incomings? I don't know. And to me, it makes it feel like we're again punting to next season, or hoping we limp through and make it to the playoffs. Like I just don't see the ambition. I see us going to waiting till next year and getting to the mini season and then going once the schedule shifts in August and starting over. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I wanted to be excited going into this break or coming out of this break and going into the season. And I'm just not.
Same here, homie. I think I honestly thought, look, and we're probably banging the drum a bit too early. There's still a bit of summer transfer window left. Don't get me wrong. It's just, we've been here before, Krash. We know what the patterns are like. We know what it's like, those buzzwords, that selective, that, we're trying to get the right fit. Those are just buzzwords, bro. That's just that's just hanging the carrot in front of the rabbit a little bit longer. You know what I mean? It's just like, how long are you guys going to be dangling that in front of us before, the actions speak louder than the words, I guess is the point. You know what I mean? Like, but look, look, Confluites homies listening, we're not trying to be Debbie Downers, whatever. It's just, right now that's how I'm feeling. And obviously you guys can hear that's how Krash is feeling. But still, there are still things, right? I'm not going to say plenty, but there are still things to play for the rest of the season, right? A potential, I don't even know why, but a potential playoff push. right? I mean, we could literally still make it into the playoffs. What we do in the playoffs, I guess, is another monster. That's a different league. But making it to the last dance, obviously, you want to be there. You start with the clean slate. Obviously, we'll be going against teams that probably have a bit more firepower than us, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens if and when we get there. And, something that I've been banging the drum on a lot too is, that Open Cup semifinal, which for me is still a breath of fresh air. We have 10 games from now until that game to kind of get any type of momentum, get any type of rhythm, find a balance. Maybe even by then we'll have new players. But like my question is, and I wish I can hear from the homies listening is, are you guys actually optimistic? Is anybody is anybody in the Rapid sphere optimistic about what has happened, what will happen based on what has happened? And I would love to hear from the homies, just what your confidence level is. What your confidence level is heading into the second half. Krash, I can't hear from the homies, but I can hear from you, my homie. What is your confidence level going into the second half?
It's probably a 3 or a 4.
Oh,
And my caveat is, again, it's not the capability of the coach. It's not the capability of the good players that we have. It's that the players that we have, the quality has not increased since the break. And I am excited and hopeful that I watched that game on Wednesday and am like, oh, this is the team that we want to see. But as we have seen in the past, is that team able to show up each week? Does that team have the depth to be dangerous? Like, I was just going through the roster and I'm just looking at who we have, and like, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, 7. Like 7 of our 28 quote unquote first team roster are R2 players that have seen very little, if not any minutes with the first team. And I mean, there have been a couple, like Sydney Watuta has gotten some minutes. Like Donovan Phillip maybe has gotten a couple minutes here or there. But like Kamani isn't there. I mean, he's on loan, if I'm not mistaken. Like, there's just like a bunch of things. Like it, we don't have any depth. We have, I don't know. I'm not feeling good. And we need stronger players in this team to have our ability to move forward.
Well, and I know Matt Wells has a reputation, maybe not so much a reputation, but Matt Wells has the minerals to give academy kids his shot. I know I've seen it with the Tottenham Academy. I know I've seen him be uh, very influential in bringing in younger players into the Tottenham team when we had that magical Europa League run. Like he was key in giving some of those young players that ultimately won us the game in Elfsborg to keep the run going. He gave the start to some of them, so I know he's not afraid to depend on the youths, but at this now he's a manager. Now he's the one in charge, right? He's not like, hey, I got this kid, let's give him a shot. No, now he's the one that's going to be making those decisions, and his neck is going to be on the chopping block. I don't know how much he's that, and I mean, I'm not gonna. I say this with tons of respect. I'm pretty sure the academy kids in a European club, in a European academy, are probably a step or two above the academy players that we have. And like I said, I say that respectfully. how much can he really depend on these young kids to really make any type of impact if we're not going to be bringing in any type of certified freaking, starters, some not potential, but some ready-made, you know what I mean? Some MLS proven talent, or maybe talent from another league, like a Loic Williams, you know what I mean? Like players that may not have to take that adjustment time. These young kids in the academy, bro, how many of them could really be possible for this fixture congestion crash, for the pressure of making the playoffs, if we make the playoffs, for the pressure of even doing anything in the playoffs, if we're talking about having to field a weaker squad with maybe 3 or 4 academy kids on the bench for that Open Cup semifinal, how does that make you feel? How are we supposed to be confident about that, bro? And I'm with you about that. That confidence being a 3, maybe even a possible 4 minus. Like, I agree, bro. I'm not. I wish I could say. I wish I could give you the opposite and say, oh no, Crash, I'm at a 6, 7, 8, or 9. But homie, I'm at like a 2 or 3. You know what I mean? And that's just the truth, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so again, I'm I'm not in training every day. I haven't been there. I know they've been back for a while. Um, it I'm excited to come back next week and be proven wrong. I'm excited to be able to connect with you guys after the Wednesday game and say, hey, this team looks a lot better than I expected.
Yeah.
But how many years have we been able to look at this team mid-season and be like, oh yeah, I'm excited? It's usually we come into some sort of break and we come out of it, whether it's Leagues Cup or whatever that ends up being, and we come out of that going, okay, second half of the season, and what?
Mm.
So I don't know. That's kind of where.
And then
The only benefit that we do have Leagues Cup this year, right? That we're not a part of. It's going to eat up fixture congestion during the season for a lot of other teams. So, maybe we are the beneficiary of some of that, but also, I don't know. I don't think this. I have very little faith in the depth of this squad, and I have faith in the players that we have. I think those are good players. Can we keep those good players? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and then just one more thing before we move forward. A Wednesday night game. A Wednesday night game, you know what I mean? Midweek, at home, under the lights. It's going to be probably blistering hot as it's been. It's been freaking extremely hot these last couple of days, maybe even last couple of weeks. Thoughts about starting with the Wednesday game, bro? I mean, it does kind of throw a curveball. I know throughout the last couple of seasons, these midweek games have been pretty hard to fill that stadium. Haven't really looked at the schedule. I don't know if it's a 7. Is it a 7 or an 8 o'clock kickoff? I know we're playing San Diego, so it might be an hour later. Okay, 7:30.
It should be a 7:30 kickoff as normal. I unfortunately will not be there. I'm traveling back to Indiana to visit my parents. So I will be out. My wife and daughter will be there at the game. So they'll be there for sure. I mean, the good thing is it's still summer. There's no school. So there's a good opportunity for people to get there and not have to worry about being up late and going to school the next day. So I would anticipate a strongish showing. Yeah, Wednesday night game is always pretty nice. And the only hope my hope is that they are able to fill the stadium because some of the World Cup excitement, people are like, hey, let's go see a match. Let's go see a game. And hopefully that they show up. And the other side of it too is I hope, we show up. San Diego before the break was a team that wasn't doing so well. They weren't in the best form. And, but I think now that the break has happened, all bets are off. I think every team that you're going to see, it's basically a new season. And I think the second half of the year is very much a new season, and we have to be ready for either the team to have gotten better during that offseason, or the team to not, or other teams to get better than we are, right? And I think that's the big question is, did teams get better in the offseason where we didn't, or did we? And we'll see, get the first chance in a week, which,
Yeah.
fingers crossed, it's a great one.
Freaking Krash. What a way to just bring me back in, bro. After I've just been this discouraged, bro, I'm now up here, homie. Like, what if they took this time to gel? What if they took this time to really hash out that game plan? What if they took this time to really just take in all of Matt Wells's football knowledge, right? Because let's be honest, he's a great coach. He's made some good decisions. He's made a few bad decisions. But what if the team has gelled, bro? Like maybe that little mini break is exactly what we needed. I know we've gotten rid of an Ian Murphy, Connor Ronan, maybe some other ones I'm forgetting about there, but perhaps things will turn around, bro, and we will start this second half of the season on a high. And like I said, still two things to look forward to is, I mean, the season is halfway through. We can easily pick up a bit more points than we did last half of the season and easily get ourselves up into contention there. And like I said earlier, getting into the last dance, you're starting fresh, a fresh, clean slate, and you win one more game in that Open Cup, and you're talking about a final. So, still, like I know the beginning half of this pod, I know I was a bit a Debbie Downer, but that's all changed, my homies, because I feel a lot better now about the situation. Yeah. What about maybe we could bring, I know I got some notes here, but I'm kind of skimming through. What about Lucas Harrington, my homie? Is he, I mean, he hasn't left yet. Like we talked about earlier, not too many rumors, concrete rumors. There is still those little bit of rumors, those Premier League clubs, maybe some Italian clubs. Barcelona is still kind of rumored to be in for him. The transfer window for these European clubs, bro, is definitely boiling hot right now. There's transfer galore. Big up to my Tottenham Hotspur dishing out the cash, bro. But that's a topic for another conversation. I want my home team to do that too, bro. Just put some of that money. I know they got money. That KSC won that Premier League title last season. As much as I hate to say it, as much as some of the listeners here might love to, look at you smiling, Krash. Look at you smiling, Krash. Where's that money at, bro? Put it on the table, splash some cash, KFC. I know you got it. You guys just made a bunch. Other teams around the world, Krash, right now are taking advantage of this opportunity. Is there going to be a club coming in for Lucas Harrington? I know you feel like it's only a matter of time, bro, but hasn't really been any rumors. Like I said, concrete. What do you think's going on, Krash?
Well, first off, I have to give definitely flowers to Lucas for his World Cup performance. I thought he played an amazing, he did an amazing job in every game he played. Got to that final game they were in all the way to penalties. And when others around him didn't step up, he said, "I'll take this penalty," and went into it. And granted, it was a good strike, just a little high, hit the crossbar, and that was it. So I feel bad for him, but he's 18, and somebody to have that level of courage and bravery to not let the moment be too big and say, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And when others were probably going, I don't know if I want to take this. One, shame on you guys around in the team for allowing an 18-year-old center back to step up and take a penalty kick, because you didn't have the balls to do it. And so I love his confidence. I think he's only going to get better, and it does show his caliber and what he can be. And that just made every single club in the world go, I want this guy. And the rumors that I've been hearing and seeing are his valuation from the Rapid side of things is around $25 million. and Barcelona's itching to get him. There are, big name Premier League clubs looking to get him. There are Italian clubs looking to get him. And it sounds like there is a legitimate bidding war or brewing, if not already happening. I did see there was a hope or a rumor that if he is to go, that they're hoping to get an immediate loan back, that he can stick with the team through the season. Maybe through the next kind of season and a half, because we'll have that mini season before the next year for the league, in August, when the kind of the schedule shift change happens. So we'll see. I don't know, but if we sell him for $25 million, I mean, that's not only a league record, a club record, but that's huge. And the amount that we can reinvest in this club is massive. Will we do anything with that money? Immediate. Will we change this course of the team? Will we do, good question. And, we should. We have the opportunity for it. And, but I think, our days of seeing Lucas are, he also, I got to give him and more flowers. He was added to the MLS All-Star as a coach's choice. So he'll get his opportunity to play in the All-Star game, which is, I would expect that to be his last game in the MLS. Yeah. I think he will likely play that game and head to wherever club in Europe he's going. So we'll see. We'll see if he's available next week. We'll see if he's on the squad. But yeah, if he's not, I'd be interested to see if he's at training on Saturday for the open training. So all those kinds of things are going to help us kind of know more on where he's at. If he's back with the club, if he, what is he doing post World Cup? Because if he's not, that's the last we're going to see of Lucas. But if he is, maybe there's a deal going on. Maybe it's delayed. Maybe it's not quite there. But yeah, I don't expect to really see him much more in a black and blue, kit anymore rather than a burgundy kit. So we may never get to see Lucas actually in a burgundy kit.
Yeah. So I wanted to come back to that. You said big up to Lucas for taking that penalty kick and when others didn't. I seen this. There was this X post that was kind of doing the rounds, and I'm just going to read it right here. It says a German fan sent a message to Australian player Lucas Harrington, who's 18 years old, after he missed his penalty against Egypt. Right. The X post reads, "Dear Lucas Harrington, if you ever read this, 31-year-old Champions League winner Leon Goretzka plays for Bayern Munich, who plays for Bayern, a 6-time Champions League winners, and for Germany, 4-time World Cup winners, didn't dare take a penalty for his country when they needed him. You did it at 18. You are so brave and a hero in our eyes." This is a random German fan who posted this X post. And that just goes to show you. You said he's got the balls, bro. He definitely stepped up. And, I was gutted, bro. I was watching the game here. That was one of the games that I was able to catch because it was later at night. I don't know if you remember. I think it was probably the primetime game at night. And I was gutted, bro. He missed his penalty. And, you just feel for him just because, just being so young, that can either go, that could either be a positive, bro, like a motivator, or it could just be it could make you tuck into your shell. And I thought that was a touching post from that German fan who rated him more than he rated his own player, Leon Goretzka, who, and then after that, I even went in to look for the video, and he's literally like Leon Goretzka, bro. He's about to throw up on the sideline, just like, no, I'm not taking no penalty kick. So no, absolutely right. And Lucas, I applaud you, man. That's big move. You deserve all the best in your world, bro. And if that just happens to be outside of a burgundy and blue kit, like long may it last, bro. Like honestly, the sky's the limit for you. So I thought that was touching, bro, especially coming from, like I said, from just a random German guy who knows where that decided to post that. Um yeah, and again, to kind of just to touch on what you were saying, bro, 25 million freaking dollars. I'm assuming that's what that is. Holy crap, dude. That's that's a fee and a half. That's a transfer fee and a half, Crash. I don't know if I want that money going into their bank account, but I mean, I'm stunned by those numbers, bro.
Well, the interesting thing about that number is that fee is more than the entire salary of the entire team.
Yeah.
The combined salary of that is less than $25 million.
Well, and let me ask you this, bro. Let's just, I mean, honestly, Crash, that's a lot of fucking money. Just take it. Just take it. Don't try and risk it. Don't try and hold out for more. Don't try and see, like, let's just keep them. If it's 25 million now, it may be 30 million next season. It may or it may not, Crash. It could go down to freaking 8 million next season. God forbid that happened, you know what I mean? But you never know what can happen, bro. At this point of the game, Crash, just fucking do it. What do you think, homie? Just do it, bro. A matter of fact, give me those numbers to those teams. Let me talk to them because we need that. We need to get that to happen, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's a gift and a curse. Like, such a good player, but then it's like he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the key of it is at that dollar valuation, if there are actually interested parties at that amount, there's no way he's saying, right? And so I really expect him to be gone. I really don't expect us to see him around much longer. And it would be just really interesting to see how it shures up and what they are able to get for him. You know, the valuation of it is high to me, but also, maybe it's not. Like I'm just looking at our transfer market. His valuation was updated on June 2nd. And it was 4.5 million. So they haven't updated it since, and it already went. It jumped from this 1.5 million to when he started with the Rapids, and now it's at 4.5. I would imagine that's going to jump to at least 15, 10 after the World Cup. But I mean, the valuation is 25 million from the Rapids, so we'll see what happens. That we could, all the things you could think about. How many of even if we got, half of that, and that's two $6 million players that we could bring in. That is, 4 $3 million players that we could bring in, right? Think about the quality we could add with that, just that fee alone. Easily could fix the scoreboard.
Which they probably wouldn't do, but yeah, you absolutely, we could buy, bro. You know what? I'm working at a high school. Like we're doing a lot of construction at a high school. I won't give the name away, but those mofos just installed a huge scoreboard, bro. I seen one go up in the last month there, bro. It's huge. I asked the GC, how much you reckon that joint costs? Said probably about 100 grand. So if this school is putting up a huge scoreboard, Kroenke's, if we get some of that bread, you guys got to do something, man, because them pixels are getting bad, homie. They are getting bad. Dude, the last time we were there, Krash, they kept crashing out, bro. Like they had to keep turning them off and turning them on to get them to go, and they would still blank out. Holy crap, man.
Yeah, I will say it's interesting to think too. So it's been a break for the team. It's been a break for MLS. It's also been a break for KSE. have they done any improvements to the stadium since the break? It would have been a prime opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Did they think through? Did they take that opportunity? Did they upgrade, do anything? No, not that I'm aware of. Nobody told me they did anything. Has anybody been there? They've had a couple Denver Summit games there, so I guess they didn't have a whole lot of time. I don't know.
No, and I mean, and to be fair, I like the idea of having different things going on there. I know there was even a rugby match there. So that's money being generated through the stadium for the organization. So it'd be nice, it's not like it's just sitting there stagnant. I mean, they even have concerts there every once in a while. So, they do generate more money than just the match day revenue, which I guess is good for the organization. Just be nice to see some of that then, put back into the club. But no, I mean, look, talking back on Lucas Harrington, homie, is that 25 million you reckon is just that's just the way transfers are going now, especially if you're talking about especially when you're talking about the buyer being from the other side of the pond, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of just transfer inflation that's going on with every transfer right now, Krash.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you're from a Premier League club, I mean, you're not to spend $6 million is a drop in the bucket, right? To spend $3 million on players is a drop in the bucket. $20 million player, yeah, they're not blinking as hard. I mean, there was a joke. I saw somebody posted that the Rapids were engaging in talks with Saka from Arsenal, and I was like, yeah, right, $100 million player, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that would ever, right? It was a funny joke and a fun dream to think if we brought in, Saka to the Rapids, how cool would that be? Yeah, that'd be epic. I would stop complaining immediately. But
he would he would fill some seats.
Absolutely. But to think about it, but that's the level that, the Premier League is, right? They buy and sell players at $100 million, that's normal.
Yeah.
And so I think that the key of that is to think, okay, well, MLS is going to need to keep moving forward. We're going to be needing to be able to just buy and sell players at that, at a new evaluation if we ever expect to be a top tier league in the world. And the Rapids right now are not even close to that. We've got to start stepping up to the plate and saying that we're gonna be ambitious. We're gonna do things. So if he gets sold for at $20 to $25 million, let's see the ambition. Show us the ambition, right? I think we're going to be limited at center back. We've got if he goes, so we're going to need some help there. But also there are rumors that Rafa's still on the table for Brazilian clubs, and how long is he going to be sticking around? We've 2 seasons now where we've had teams itching to bring him on to back down to Brazil.
Yeah. Just to add a little bit of context to how the market is going out there on the other side of the pond, and they'll just make you think of it, bro. So Tottenham had a player who's only played 3 preseason matches in about 2 years. Luka Vuskovic went on loan to Hamburg in Germany, came back to Spurs, obviously found out he's not going to make it on the first team. So they just sold him for 50 million pounds. Hasn't even played a Premier League match. 19 years old, Krash, 19 years old. So they will throw money, and he's been bought by Brighton and Hove. So Brighton and Hove, albeit not a big, huge club, but still has Premier League revenue to go and dump this type of money on a player. Why can't Everton do that? Everton can easily spend that money on a Lucas Harrington. You think it maybe these teams that are probably not in the upper echelons of the Premier League can definitely go out and splash that amount of cash. And then to add even more to it, $25 million is probably like 18, 19 million pounds, which is, even much more doable for some of these European clubs, bro. You mentioned Hoffa. I know you've said over the last couple, the last couple of seasons that you probably would have thought Hoffa would have been gone already by now, if not sooner than later. He's still with the squad, bro. Hasn't really been too much concrete rumors or interest. I know I want to say like the biggest one that I heard was probably at the beginning of the season was probably like a Monterrey Rayados, who were kind of looking for a player like that. I think actually, funny enough, now I think they may be even linked with Diego Luna. But not how do you feel about the whole Hoffa situation, bro? If you're Hoffa and you're seeing what's really going on, some of the creativeness in Connor Ronan is now gone. Haven't really made any moves to kind of move that needle. If you're one of these players, Hoffa especially being probably our main goal threat, and I think he's probably still our highest goal scorer right now. How do you feel, bro? Like, do you feel like the club's investing around you? Do you feel like the club is giving you the best chance to progress in your career? Would you be wanting to kind of look for a move away?
It's interesting because I think personally that Hoffa really enjoys it. I think he really enjoys Colorado. I think he enjoys the team. I think he enjoys Matt Wells. And so I don't think the moves that or the kind of interest in him is him trying to leave the club. And so I will give that. I think last year, if Georgie hadn't gone, Hoffa would have. The only reason why he's here is because the front office didn't want to lose two of their key players at the tail end of the season because they wanted to have some sort of shot to make the playoffs. In hindsight, knowing what happened and how we, really just crumbled at the end of the season, probably should have sold him and just gave Yappy the shot and then started fresh with Wells the next year. But I really enjoy Hoffa. I think he's a great, he's one of the best, if not the best striker we've had in a long, long time. It's a position that we've struggled to find and get somebody to really, be solid and consistent. He's not, he's played like every minute without fail, and he's been a really solid player. So I'd hate to see him go, so I really hope he doesn't. But yeah, man, if the dollar again, money talks. So if they're seeing a big offer for a player that they don't see that they're going to get an additional more later or the return, or they feel confident with what they have or what they can get, yeah, of course he's going to go. And so we'll see how that turns out. Again, these are all rumors. I don't necessarily expect that to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised either.
Dude, I'm just gonna go out there on a limb and say I've seen arguably one of the best strikers in world football right now for more than 10 years, Harry Kane. Harry Kane, bro, and Hoffa, I know I've said this plenty of times, massive, massive. I see tons of Harry Kane and Hoffa, and I'm gonna say this right now, bro. Hoffa can easily be playing on a Premier League team right now, bro. He could easily be scoring goals for a Premier League team right now. There's not that many players on the Rapids that I could say, oh, they could easily slot into a Premier League team and be bagging goals or either be an influential player. Hoffa, for me, the hardest working Rapids player, tracks back the most. He's got eyes on the back of his head, can pick out a pass without even looking. He's got the ability. He's got the Brazilian flair in him as well. I think, what I mean? Not necessarily the flair, but he's got like that. He's obviously got that Brazilian mentality, that Brazilian mindset on him that he can definitely translate his game to a higher level, bro. I would love to see the Rapids facilitate him, make him the focal point. And I think we kind of are trying to. Don't get me wrong. We've brought in a Paxton Aronson who probably should be and can create more goals for him. You know what I mean? So watch out for that, my homies. If we could get some more creative passers and just maybe build around Hoffa, who knows? Maybe that's something that's in the pipe works. You know what I mean? But Hoffa for me, bro, is by far right now probably our best player, our most important player, our most influential player. And I know we just signed the Yappy this season on a new contract extension. I think if the Rapids are serious, bro, and the Rapids have a game plan, and we fail to build around players like Lucas Harrington and Hoffa, we're gonna set ourselves up to fail, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, the challenge is with Hoffa is I think he could be a leading goal scorer in the MLS easily. I do agree with you that he is a solid player and he could be a Premier League level striker for sure. The thing that changes is the service that he's provided. When he's able to create and get in there, and when he has opportunity in the ball, he's dangerous. Does amazing things with the ball. It makes defenders, worried and beats them with his ability with the ball. It's beautiful. The problem that he just doesn't get the service. He's not getting the passes inside. He's not getting the opportunity to finish these balls a lot of the time. And if he had somebody providing him consistent service that with a dangerous threat around him, and I think that's the key, is if there's not an additional dangerous threat around him, then they're all going to focus on him. And they're like, okay, well, we've got 3 defenders in the box defending on Navarro, and somebody's going to have to, where is it coming from? Are you going to build workers through us? And so I think that's the thing, is we don't have enough danger outside or quality outside or even in the middle. I think Paxton's not on the ball much either. And so I think it's how are we creating chances and how are we getting the ball to certain players to create and be dangerous? If they aren't touching the ball, I mean, that's the hard part I'm seeing is our outside players and wingers and our midfielders aren't really creating the way that we need them to be dangerous. And there are moments, and we see it, that they've been too far and too few this second half of the season. The first half, we were getting excited. There were some good chances. They were scoring a lot of goals, and it kind of tailed off there at the end. And so I think we really need to see some adjustment there. And I mean, I know Matt Wells has been on record, saying that we expect two incoming players. We expect those 2 incoming players to be in the attacking third. So, and he said that they're going to be, they're going to add to quality and increase the quality of the team. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that we're getting some starting caliber players that are going to step right in and push the team, forward. And then we have, the players that we currently have kind of as our subs, which is good, or, the rotation side of it. But I don't know. It's interesting to think what those 2 players could be, because, we were lacking in the midfield terribly right now. We do not have enough midfielders to be able, with respect to the different, styles of play, to be effective, right? We've got 2 defensive midfielders and 1 attacking midfielder, and then kind of mixed bag of additional midfielders as you go through there, right? And of like R2 and like depth subs, like rookie style players. I don't know. I'm concerned. And then the question I have too is kind of as you were saying about building around Hoffa. Do we have like somebody like Paxton, who is known to be a much better player as an 8 than he was as a 10? Is he playing a position that's not his strongest? Are we able to shift pieces around and play these guys in the position that they're strongest, which in turns allows like Hoffa to be in his best self? So it'll be interesting to see what comes of the window and what really ends up happening. Do we get these players that are going to add that quality? I don't know. But I would love to be able to really build around the strengths of our players rather than oh, this is the player that we have, make him work.
Yeah, man. All good points, bro. And then to just wrap up the pod this week, bro, I think if we're to do anything from now until the end of the season, we've got to stay healthy, especially with the thin squad. We have got to stay healthy. We have to have consistent goal scorers, not just a consistent goal scorer. We need to have consistent goal scorers. Um, what happened a lot the first half of the season, we need to definitely tighten up defensive mistakes. We've seen a lot of those happen throughout the first half. Um, and I know it's thin, but the squad need to contribute. We're going to need to get production off of the bench. For some odd reason there, we kind of petered off towards in last first half of the season, but we need to pick up points at home, Krash. If we're not going to be able to do it on the road, we need to pick up the points at home. And mentioned this earlier, we have that huge semifinal match in 10 matches. We need to build momentum before that Open Cup semifinal. Because honestly, for me, bro, momentum heading into that semifinal could define the entire season, Krash. Could define the entire season. Almost kind of feels like this season feels like it's at a crossroads. The next few weeks will tell us everything we need to know about this Rapids team. Will the Rapids respond after a disappointing finish to the first half? Right? Can Matt Wells, can he prove that he's the right man for this job? Or probably something that's going to happen. Will the lack of investment just leave this squad short once again, Krash? The second half isn't just about making the playoffs anymore, my homie. It's about proving that this club has ambition. Because if the Rapids fall short, the question won't only be about Matt Wells. They'll be about whether the organization gave him a realistic chance to succeed, which, we're going to have to sit here and find out. Krash, final questions for you, my homie. Is the one signing, the Loic Williams signing, enough?
No, not at all. Nope. If that is, if we don't get any incoming signings this season, you can just chalk it up as they don't care. It's so he is. I think he's going to be a good player. He looks like he's a solid player. I think those who got to see him, during the scrimmage, can chat in and let us know what you think. I'm optimistic with him, and I think that's great. But we are limited on center backs. If we lose Lucas, then I don't know how we're gonna move forward with 3 center backs. We're gonna have to have somebody come in. We're gonna as a supplement there. I don't know. We need more quality on this team, and I think that's gonna be a key to us. One, proving there's ambition from the club, and 2, for us to even have a remote shot at winning anything in this league, because this league consistently is getting better. Every window, teams are getting better. The quality increases every time. I mean, Mo Salah maybe going to Kansas City. I know these guys are older, but they are still amazing and dangerous players. Some of them had some of the best games in their years in the World Cup now, and so you can call it retirement league or wherever you want to look at it, but they're at an elite level that even at that age is still nothing to shake a stick at. And we need to be able to provide similar or if not better quality players to go against teams that are filling their roster with those kinds of guys. So I don't know. Will the Rapids do it? Will KSE, step up? Will front office provide Matt Wells with the quality of player that we need to actually compete in this league? We'll see.
Yeah. Krash, and I know you mentioned you're going to be taking off to go back to go visit the parents later next week, so you won't be at the match. What are your thoughts, homie? Should we kind of revisit this next Tuesday before the match? Will you be busy? Should we wait until after the match to kind of do a post-match something, a review? I mean, your call, my homie.
Yeah.
Sorry to put you on the spot, but what do you feel?
No, for sure. Yeah, I fly out on Tuesday, so I probably won't be able to do a pregame. Maybe we can connect on Monday or something. So we'll see, guys, about maybe a short pregame before then. But I'll definitely we'll definitely get something out for after the game for sure. And then preview the St. Louis game, which there's a chance that I might be able to get to that game because I will be over in that neck of the woods. So we might be able to pop over there depending on schedule and kind of what we're doing. So I might be able to get my first away day in while I'm out. So we'll see. But yeah, it's one of those things where this no matter what happens on Wednesday, we need to see a team ready to play. We need to see this team playing at their top form and ready to win and showing that they're dangerous for me to feel any sort of excitement for the rest of the season. If we come out flat, we come out, behind the ball or not clicking, then it's going to be, alarm bells for me because we have had too much time to figure this out to come into a new half of the season and just not start on the right foot, especially being all match.
Yeah, no, I agree, my homie. Was there anything maybe that you wanted to touch on before we call it a night?
The only thing I would say is kind of like we went back to where we started with the World Cup and the excitement. I challenge every one of our listeners and anybody who's a Rapids fan to find those new fans or those people that you've been watching the World Cup with and bring them to bring them to the games. Bring them out to see the MLS and show them what it's like to be in the South Bank and with C38 and what it's all about, because I think we do have a unique opportunity to really grow the sport and add to the support of this club. Granted that we've talked about a lot of things that probably aren't exciting about being a supporter of this club, but the key of it though is that the more supporters that we have and the more people that are invested into watching and championing the players and the team, the more excitement, the more likely we're going to see the front office and KSC invest in this team. So I think, use this opportunity, bring in those guys, bring them to an opportunity. I think there's an opportunity for first time, attendees to get a free ticket and different elements. So, I think, for that point, I think there's a lot of excitement there and we can give it a good shot.
That's what, bro, honestly, and to go full circle with this episode, so what day was it? I think it was Father's Day a couple Sundays ago, probably a few now. Sundays ago, I was over at my pops's house. We had a nice little family get together, and one of my little cousins, we were talking about I want to say it was the Messi match when we played at Empowered Field, and I said, "Well, I made a video about it. You want to check it out?" So we went down into the living room. I popped on the video, and he's sitting there watching. He's like, "Wow!" Like he was really into it. And I told him, "You want to go to a match? I'll take you to a match. The next time the Rapids play at home, I'll take you." So he's actually going to be. I may even take my daughter too, so she could go. But I'm going to be taking my little cousin, who's going to go to his first Rapids match. So I'm actually going to be doing my part as well to bring somebody in who he may tell his parents, like, "Hey, I want to go back again." You know what I mean? And then that'll be more people that end up going. So if you're listening to this, just know I'm going to be doing my part as well. Granted, when I told him we were going to go to the game on the 22nd, I had no idea it was going to be on a Wednesday. But he's out of school. There should be no reason why I shouldn't be able to take him. So yeah, I agree. What a great shout. You know what I mean? Like just
and maybe. And to that point, and I want to just jump in because now I just remembered as we're talking through this, I have 2 available tickets. Anybody who wants to go, if you're a listener, reach out. I will provide you 2 available tickets to this match if you can bring a friend that's never been.
Reach out to Krash at the Daddy Shuttle or on Instagram. Reach out to us on the website. We also have at theconfluencepod.com. No, Krash, a wonderful time to come back and kick it with you, bro. Honestly, I've been dying to come back. I know we've had a little bit of in-between time, but today, bro, I was like, I don't care how tired I am today. I don't care how long my drive home was. I had to get in front of the camera, kick it with the homie, get onto the podcast. And I honestly I look forward very much so to the second half of the season. And if that's all we got, Krash, my homie, everybody have a good night. Krash, cue up that outro music, my homies. We'll see you guys on the next one. Up the Pids.
Yeah. My heart, C38, Lil Coys and KTK. Locals on the fly, causing turbulence, causing waves on our way to the confluence. New voice for the fans, from the pitch to the stands. My heart, locals in the South Bank lads. Leo, Coys and the whole me Krash. Hold up, what's this? A raft on the water to the confluence. Yeah, it's trance, I'm blind to rhymes and laughter. Head to the waters if it's piss you're after. C38, the time is now. Locals on the drums to hold it down. Like the stream and 2 5 stars. The mile high hot spur and crash the car. Yeah.